What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing us a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys. In today's episode, we have a ton of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. Our first topic of the day, guys, is going to be about Destiny and the future of Destiny, guys. A series, of course, that kind of reminds you a little bit about Halo because, of course, Bungie are the creators of Halo, also the creators of Destiny. But there's a lot of question marks around this franchise, especially seeing as how Bungie and Activision split. And so now a lot of pressure might have been lifted off of Bungie's shoulders because they, of course, had the weighing eye of Activision, over top of the franchise, and now that's not there. But there's more added pressure now to Bungie because they got to deliver something really special in order to get us all on board again with Destiny. Because for myself, guys, Destiny wasn't necessarily a game that I enjoyed that much. I thought, I appreciated it quite a bit, but it kind of just reminded me a little bit too much of Halo, and it just felt like it was just kind of a complete rip-off of Halo, or like a spiritual successor to Halo, so to speak. And so I just didn't really buy into it, but I did really appreciate the first one, and even I appreciated partially the second one as well. So the question is, guys, is what happened to Destiny and where could it be going now in the future? So let's talk about it. In an article that was written by Paul Tassi from Forbes, he lists 5 big questions for Bungie now that, of course, them and Activision split. So, guys, this was actually written back in January of 2019, but there's, I thought, a number of different things here that are that very well could be, you could kind of relate to this very day. I think it's important. So, Bungie was extracting itself from its deal with Activision and would have the sole publishing rights to the Destiny franchise going forward. It's the end of a profitable but often tense 8-year relationship between the two, and an enormous deal in the gaming industry that is being received as a big win for Bungie and a loss for Activision, though the larger publisher was frequently bemoaning that Destiny wasn't hitting their sales targets. There are 10 trillion questions about what happens to Destiny now going forward, but I've tried to narrow it down to the 5 biggest. I don't expect Bungie to come out with a line list addressing all of these immediately, but I think over time they're going to need to talk about the aspects of this separation because we don't really know all of the past points of conflict between Activision and Bungie and what might change now that Destiny is free of a corporate overlord. So, guys, one thing I do kind of want to mention about this first portion is that, in my eyes, I don't know what happened behind closed doors. Obviously, we don't with Bungie and Activision, what the big issue was. Activision, I think they just didn't probably like some of the things that Bungie was probably doing, and Bungie probably just didn't like that Activision was trying to have a heavy hand on like microtransactions and things of that nature. Bungie just wanted to kind of be free of all of that stuff. They could just have complete creative control of their destiny and where they were trying to go with the franchise. I just think my personal take is that I'm concerned for Bungie. I think they're going to have that, they're going to obviously having that creative control might be a really good thing for them, but at the same time, Activision, as being the juggernaut that they are, they have that power to really be able to push a product out to the people and really get it out there. And I don't know if Bungie can do it by themselves. It's hard to say. Many developers have been able to do it without having big publishers, but at the same time, I think it's going to be pretty difficult, especially because of Destiny, the name of Destiny. Just people thought it was a cool concept, but I think other people are just kind of moving back to playing Call of Duty, going over to, probably playing the new Halo when that comes out. There's a lot of competition out there, and is Destiny really going to have a grounded, thought process and really something fleshed out that people are really going to enjoy? It's a big question mark, to me at least. That being said, what's going to be the new pace of content and big releases? So one point of contention that kept coming up in reporting about the relationship between Activision and Bungie was that Bungie was exhausted by Activision's constant demand for content that came out in a set window, namely, and there had to be a big annual Destiny release every fall without fail. Destiny 2 was delayed, but eventually Activision wouldn't let it move anymore, and well, we know how vanilla launch went there. But it's not just Activision that's been demanding new content from Bungie, it's also fans. I can easily see a situation where if, say, Bungie doesn't release a big fall expansion this year because they want to put more work into Destiny 3 instead, a big chunk of the fan base might get upset about that because, well, we've had 5 years of big fall Destiny releases. So, really quick here too, guys, with this part, having, of course, DLC packs and just all of that stuff that Activision wanted. Look, Activision's looking at this, obviously, as a business, because it is, and Bungie's looking at it as well, like a creative medium, but they also are looking at it as a business as well. Here's the thing, though. Activision knows what they got with Call of Duty, and they're saying, look, why can't you guys do something similar to what Call of Duty's doing and having a new game every year? Now, I think it's a little bit too much to ask with Bungie. Obviously, Activision doesn't even ask Infinity Ward and Treyarch and Sledgehammer. It doesn't ask them to make a new game every year. What they say is, look, you got a 3-year cycle or now you got a 2-year cycle. So you got every other year we're expecting a new title from you. And I think that's what they could have probably asked from Bungie is, look, we need a new Destiny every other year and content in between. So the year off when there isn't a new Destiny game, you have content for that previous Destiny game. And maybe that was just too much to ask. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how big Bungie is in terms of how big their team is and such, but Activision obviously felt good enough that that they had a big enough team to do this. I think having a Destiny game, every year is asking way too much of Bungie. Now, obviously, if you had Bungie as well as a couple other developers come in to help out, like if what they're doing with Treyarch and of course, Sledgehammer Games right now. Sledgehammer right now is making the campaign for the new Call of Duty Black Ops, and Treyarch is making, of course, the multiplayer. So if you had something like that, it might work, but having Bungie just do it all by themselves, that probably did get very, very tense over there. What's going to be the new scope of content? One early concern is what might happen with Bungie going independent, as Activision, despite its problems, is a huge corporation with a ton of resources. As such, if Bungie doesn't have as much gas in the tank, are we going to see future games or content drops that are shorter or more sparsely populated than they would have been without Activision's budget behind it? We don't really know the financial situation at Bungie as an independent entity, but they recently got a $100 million investment from China mobile giant NetEase, which no doubt made this transition easier, if it's not the entire reason it's possible. I'm wondering if Bungie is going to try to seek further investment from other sources to bolster this, and I'm also curious what exactly this NetEase investment will yield. So, look guys, I'm not saying it's all doom and gloom for Bungie. I mean, that is absolutely not it. But here, we got to take everything with a grain of salt, and we got to think about these things, because there's two sides to every story, and I look at things in terms of what's worked in the past, but also, even ways that you can incorporate things from the past and see those things be fulfilled in the future. I look at 343 Industries. 343 Industries obviously are the ones who have taken control of Halo. And they're the ones creating Halo now. We don't know at this very point, or at the time of this recording, how good Halo Infinite is going to be. I feel like it's going to be a pretty good game, though. But they've got Microsoft there. And Microsoft's the ones that are going to be pushing this out to the masses. If 343 Industries was the only one, they were by themselves, didn't really have a publisher of the size of Microsoft, who knows how big the new Halo would be. People would certainly try it, but having a big publisher there is always very helpful, because not only is it the resources, but it's also, look, they got a team of people that kind of have an eye for certain things as well, whether that be microtransactions, things that we don't enjoy, or things that we do, that being story, and, getting the right people and the right roles for certain characters in the campaign. Just look, when you have a lot of resources, it really is helpful. And Activision has an abundance of resources. Bungie now, sure, $100 million investment is great, but at the same time, you wonder what that investment's for. Is it for just the studio in general? Is it for them to make a mobile game? It's hard to say, but I gotta say, you gotta look at these things in terms of that, and I think time will tell, because when we get another Destiny, which who knows when the next Destiny game is going to be coming out, might get announced this year, who knows, but whenever Destiny 3 gets announced, and once we see it for ourselves and play it for ourselves, we'll be able to say it was worth them leaving Activision or not. And I think, guys, that in my opinion, we're going to enjoy the product that Bungie's going to come out with, not having Activision like in the background. But at the same time, I don't know if it's going to be as popular as when, Destiny, the first one and the second one came out, just because it's not going to be pushed to the masses like that. They might do a pretty good job with that, with advertising and things of that nature, but it's pretty hard to tell, in my personal opinion, if it's going to be able to really be pushed out to the masses, and are people going to give Destiny another chance? Hard to say. How will monetization and microtransactions change without Activision? Without question, the dream of Bungie splitting from Activision is that all those pesky microtransactions are going to just evaporate on the spot, like we'll all log in one day and Tess Everest will be apologizing profusely for war profiteering, and everything she sold magically just appears in the loophole. While I do imagine that Activision had a heavy hand in the post-launch monetization of Destiny, I think it's a bit naive to assume that Bungie somehow won't care about making money going forward. I think we might see things change a bit. I've been saying for eons, Eververse needs a top-to-bottom rework, and the loot box aspect of its engrams needs to go for starters. But other than that, what's Bungie's changing here? Vanilla Destiny 2 going free to play? I mean, different DLC or annual pass prices, new microtransactions outside of Eververse that are less irritating. So, I personally, guys, this is what I would say. If Bungie's smart, and I think that they are, I would absolutely make the first and second Destiny games free to play. I'd make them free to play. Or if you didn't make those ones free to play, Destiny 3, depending on what they're doing, if they do like a battle royale or they, add like a multitude of different modes and such, if you made the battle royale free, if they did that with Destiny, or they made certain modes free for Destiny 3, if you made the whole game free, but all microtransactions in it, I don't think they're going to do that, but if you at least made Destiny 1 and 2 free to play, you're going to at least get that interest back. You say, start promoting Destiny 3 to as many people as you can get out there, but with that, you say, since we're, announcing the launch of Destiny 3, Destiny 1 and 2 are going to be free to play from here on out. And if you owned one of those games, you get X amounts of other, in-game items that aren't going to give you a competitive advantage, just, cosmetic items in-game, just for being a loyal person to Bungie and owning Destiny 1 or 2. And so that's what I think that they might want to take the direction of. It's hard to say, though. I mean, I agree with this full-heartedly when you say, like, Activision had a heavy hand, obviously, in the microtransaction system, but Bungie's obviously thinking to themselves, we got to make some money too. And they're certainly going to be thinking that as, Destiny 3 gets closer and closer to being released. So, will the Sony exclusivity deal continue? The divorce from Activision calls into question the state of the seemingly never-ending content exclusivity deal with Sony, which offers PlayStation players weapons, armor, ships, strikes, and multiplayer maps that PC and Xbox players don't see for a year at least. It's a deal so irritating it actually made me jump consoles between Destiny 1 and 2, which I suppose is the goal, but no one, not Xbox, PC, or PlayStation players like that it exists, as it makes the game worse for everyone. I 100% agree with this. It makes it worse for everyone, okay? Exclusivity, guys, is one thing. But if you had Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 and you just said, look, this is going to be exclusive to PlayStation. Okay, all right. People might buy the PlayStation to play Destiny. But you can own it on Xbox. You can own it on PC. But a lot of this stuff that's in the game, or like the new DLC and all of those things, are going to come first to PlayStation. It's ludicrous to me. I don't know why games are like this. It bothers me beyond end. It's like, look, just make it exclusive to that console then. Why are you even making it available to Xbox and PC people? And you're like teasing everybody else. If you're going to have an exclusive title, like me when it comes to Xbox, I love Gears of War. It's exclusive to Xbox, and that's cool. but don't make it available to PlayStation and PC and everything else, and then say, look, since we have this exclusivity deal with Xbox, Gears of War content or DLC is going to come first on Xbox, and then you guys won't get it for a year or two. It's like, that is crazy. Why? And so I think that one thing is, guys, is that the gaming industry is still trying to figure it out. If you really think about it, gaming's been around for a while now, but at the same time, it hasn't been around as long as, say, like, you know, the movie industry, the music industry. It's an industry that is still somewhat new, so they're still trying to figure it out as we go from consoles, you know, generation to next generation. They're still trying to figure these things out. Microtransactions really aren't even that old either, if you really think about it. So all I'm saying is that this is something that they definitely need to address, and I really hope Bungie will. Lastly, what happens now with the eternal casual versus hardcore divide? Another narrative has been in place for a while that Activision wanted to make Destiny for casual players and a wider audience. Bungie wanted to cater to the hardcore crowd with more complex content, but I think it's a more complicated issue than that. As I've said before, most of the stuff that was wrong with Destiny 2 at launch had very little to do with catering to casuals and mostly made up of either unforced errors or Bungie's end. The shaders, the shaders, or simply running out of time for a sequel. And the debate rages on today about hardcore versus casual versus those stuck in the middle. And look, I think that this is a very simple thing that you just, like, in my opinion, at least, when I look at a game, okay, like, let's just take another Activision title. Let's take Call of Duty, something I understand. Hardcore versus casual versus people stuck in the middle. Okay, well, what does that mean? So basically, guys, what you're trying to do with any game is you want to cater to pretty much everybody, and that's exactly what Activision was trying to do. And you can do that, but you got to have certain game modes and such. So, like, think about this. With Call of Duty, you got the CDL playlist, the Call of Duty League playlist, which is essentially for the competitive players, people who are really serious about becoming a pro in the game or just competing at a very high level. That's a playlist that you can play. Has all of the, you know, rules and regulations of the Call of Duty League. And then, of course, guys, for more casual people, you can just play Team Deathmatch. You can just play, you know, certain other game modes that are going to put you in a skill-based matchmaking system, which kind of puts you up against other people who are of your same skill set. Then, of course, you've got campaigns, you've got co-op, you've got spec ops, or you got other game modes that are going to keep you just by, if you are somebody in between that doesn't know if you want to be casual or competitive, you can just kind of be in the middle and you have other things to do. I think Bungie needs to take that mentality. Sure, you want to have a hardcore crowd, but you certainly don't just want it to be hardcore. Think about this. I look at Fortnite, and Fortnite is starting to become, they're trying really hard to make it, you know, more casual for everyone, and obviously, you know, having, you know, with some complexity, obviously, but I think the problem that Fortnite's having is that there's so many amazingly, you know, good players at building, whereas you have a lot of people who aren't good at building. So skill-based matchmaking, having new game modes and things of that nature in Fortnite, I think are very important for the success long-term of the game. To just have a hardcore crowd, you're basically just thinking probably esports. You're looking at Bungie's probably looking at Destiny 3, if this is true, that it's going to be a esports title and everyone's just going to be playing this, and you're going to get on there and it's going to just be, you know, you're going to be trying to be a pro, or you're going to be taking it very seriously. There's going to be no one casual playing it. Maybe similar to like kind of like CSGO, like a lot of people on CSGO are, you know, playing it from a, you know, a very competitive standpoint. They want to be competitive. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's going to limit your base of people that are going to be playing the game. That's just my opinion, guys. I would love to hear yours, but I think, guys, where they went wrong with Destiny, I think Activision was trying too hard or being too ambitious, trying to have a new Destiny game every single year. And Bungie kind of pulled back on that, didn't like that they were doing that. And then after the second Destiny, it looked like, look, Destiny's not a bad game. By any stretch of the imagination, it's not a bad game, a bad series. I think it should continue and it should coexist with all these other shooters out there. But I do think things need to change, and I think it's good that Activision and Bungie did split. I'm concerned, of course, for Bungie, but at the same time, time will tell what Destiny 3 gives us. So what do you guys think, though? What do you guys really think happened to Destiny? Were there things that I didn't, mention that you think? Definitely let me know in the comment section below. And when do you think we'll see a Destiny 3? Let's talk about it. Our next topic of the show, guys, is going to be about Injustice, a fighting game series, of course, that I've been kind of wondering if they're going to make a sequel to this, or I guess a third, continuation of the game, of maybe the story and the lore of Injustice. So where's Injustice 3? Let's talk about it. In an article, guys, that was written by Sian Mayer from PC Gamer, it talks about creative director Ed Boon is in on the joke of a Injustice 3 being teased in Mortal Kombat 11. And I've talked about Mortal Kombat 11, guys. Absolutely fantastic game. I absolutely love Mortal Kombat 11. But it's interesting because with Joker, obviously Joker came into the fray, into the game, and the Joker is joining the Mortal Kombat 11 roster, which he already obviously has. Been getting up to the mischief with one of the lines in his gameplay trailer, sparking speculation that he's referring to Injustice 3, NetherRealm's DC spinoff. Only two of us, Joker asked, spreading blood across his mouth to form his iconic grin. That's in Injustice. What we could do with a third, retorts Joker number 2. Given that NetherRealm has yet to announce what it intends to work on next, many keen-eared Mortal Kombat players thought that this line, coupled with Joker's background as a popular Injustice character, could only mean one thing: Injustice 3 was on the way. NetherRealm creative director Ed Boon doused the rumors with hot lava with his unconvincing denial on Twitter. He said, PSA, this Joker dialogue is not hinting at anything related to Injustice. Any reference is purely coincidental. This Joker, so right off the bat though, guys, what I'll say is this. Ed Boon, he tends to do stuff like this. He'll kind of say, look, it's purely coincidental. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Ed Boon. Thank you for the public service announcement. We appreciate it. But this definitely, this is screaming that they're at least thinking about Injustice, okay? They're certainly thinking about it. He even said the word Injustice. Look, whenever a developer starts talking about something or addressing rumors of something, if it's not happening, most likely you won't even address the rumors. Like, there's no reason to even address it, right? Like, I mean, Rockstar Games, we say, oh, GTA 6 is coming, hopefully GTA 6 is coming, hopefully Bully 2 is coming, hopefully Max Payne 4 is coming, all these different games, right? They just keep quiet, and then they announce things when they announce things. People who are actually stating things or actually say things like this, whether it's a troll or not, a lot of times this is starting to make us even wonder even more so that there's going to be an Injustice 3. So I do think that it is coming. Mortal Kombat 11 is what they're focused on at this point with NetherRealm, but at the same time, I think that an Injustice 3 might be a couple of years away, so it might be a lot closer than you might think. Given that the Joker is the penultimate addition to Mortal Kombat 11's roster, and considering that their next project is still under wraps, it's difficult to imagine this line wasn't written by design. Regardless of whether or not there was any weight attached to the line, though, you can play as Joker in Mortal Kombat on January 28th, which obviously already happened. But, guys, I think Injustice 3 is coming. And if he's being completely honest, that being Ed Boon, is being completely honest that it has nothing to do with Injustice and it's not hinting at anything with Injustice, I'm saying that Mortal Kombat 11, like, think about this. What else would NetherRealm maybe be working on, right? I mean, other than, obviously, they're working on Mortal Kombat 11. That's first and foremost for this company right now. And I think that, to be honest, they need to just continue with Mortal Kombat 11 and just really continue building content and stuff, because this is a great game. And it's a great franchise, too. I wouldn't even mind them just making Mortal Kombat 12 in a few years and skipping out on Injustice. But I think for those people and players that like the Injustice franchise, it'd be kind of cool to have Mortal Kombat 11. They keep on pushing that out there. keep updating it. They bring out Injustice 3, and then I would say, maybe a few years after that, have another, Mortal Kombat, that being Mortal Kombat 12. But Injustice 3, guys, I think right now is in development. I think that there is even though we're not getting confirmation, so we can't say for sure whether or not it's coming, I think where it's at this point is it's being talked about. That's the big point I want to talk about right now, guys, is that, look, this is a game that's being talked about. It might not necessarily be right around the corner. It might not even be in the foreseeable future, but I do think that since it's being talked about, Injustice 3 very well might be closer than you think. And those of you who are big Injustice fans, I think that you can take what Ed Boon said and take what Joker is saying in Mortal Kombat 11, and you can look at that in a very positive way, and you can take it and run with it. And I think, guys, that we might be seeing it. I would love to see, for all of you Injustice fans out there, I'm a Mortal Kombat fan. Injustice, I'm not going to say that I don't like it. I think it'd be great to have another Injustice. But I think it might be closer than we all might think. It might be, a couple of years away. It might be the next game that NetherRealm is working on. But I would love to hear from all of you guys. What do you guys think about this? Would you want to see an Injustice 3? And do you think it's, coming? Or do you think that Ed Boon is being honest in his public service announcement? Let me know what you guys think, and let's have a real conversation about it. Another game that I would love to see a continuation of is Bully, a game that, of course, is made by Rockstar and is one of those IPs that they own, and one of, those games that a lot of people would love to see a sequel from. Obviously, Bully, when that released, guys, got a lot of, backlash, but if you think about it, all of Rockstar games, they all have something controversial in them, but I know that a lot of people who enjoyed the first Bully would love to see a sequel. I am one of those people as well. Obviously, guys, what I want to talk about in this segment is where is Bully 2 at this point, and are we going to see it in the future at some point or another, or not? From Screen Rant, guys, an article that was written by Christopher Teuton, Bully 2 development has allegedly ceased and the game was scrapped. New reports have surfaced saying that a sequel to Rockstar's Bully was in development for over a year before being scrapped due to lack of momentum. A sequel to the open world game Bully was apparently in the works but scrapped after over a year of development. Developed by Rockstar Games, who recently announced a PC version of Red Dead Redemption 2, the original Bully saw players taking on the role of a young man named Jimmy as he explored the fictional Bulworth Academy, a boarding school in England, while making friends and enemies with jocks, nerds, and homeless karate teachers. While not as great a success as Rockstar's more popular franchises like Grand Theft Auto, Bully developed a cult following over the next few years and even received a special edition titled Bully Scholarship Edition. Although recent GTA Online rumors have hinted that a sequel to Bully might be under development, unfortunately, reports have now surfaced which seemingly show this is not the case. So, look, I think, guys, that Bully, I was kind of surprised when people were talking about Bully 2, even though I would like a sequel to it. There's other games that Rockstar owns, other IPs that they own, that I really wanted to see sequels of first. GTA 6 is obviously one of those. Max Payne 4, I want to see a Max Payne 4 before I would see a Bully 2. I would even consider seeing a LA Noire 2 over a Bully 2. I think, though, in all reality, guys, I think Max Payne and GTA are the two games that I probably want to see made the most. And then Bully and, like, LA Noire, if they made a second LA Noire, those would be games I'd like to see as well after, those other two. But I think one thing that this does kind of bring up is if it's true that Bully 2 was actually, canceled and scrapped after a year, this means that it opens up the opportunity for a GTA 6, a Max Payne 4, LA Noire 2, Red Dead Redemption 3. There's a lot that this kind of does, because that means that obviously they were working on Bully. That doesn't mean that they're never going to come back to it again, but what that does mean is they're putting it on the sidelines and now they're focusing on other things, probably in the form of GTA 6, most likely, and probably shortly after that would be like a Max Payne 4. Now, According to VGC, who cite multiple sources as being knowledgeable of the game's development, a script for Bully 2 was written by Dan Houser and a small team of developers in 2008, 2 years after the game's initial release. After development of the first Red Dead Redemption game was completed, a group of Rockstar New England employees reportedly spent somewhere between a year and 18 months working on Bully's sequel, going as far as to create a small but working build of the title. So guys, they've been working on this for a long time, like concepts and things of that nature, have been working on it for a while. It was playable, one of VGC's sources said, also confirming that Bully 2 tech demo was created in the Rage engine, Rockstar's own game engine used in the Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto, and Max Payne series. Although the game's tech build functioned, the entire project suffered from a lack of adequate momentum, with development drive simply fizzling out over time. The team at Rockstar New England was eventually moved to other projects, and the Bully 2 sequel was abandoned. So look, what this is unfortunate. For those of you who are massive Bully fans, this is a really unfortunate thing. However, if you enjoy Rockstar games, what this is telling you is that Rockstar New England, they're working on something. They might not be working on Bully 2, the sequel, anymore after it was abandoned, but they're working on something. And there is no guarantee that they're not going to come back to Bully at some point in the future, guys. I do think that there is a significant call following behind Bully. Rockstar is one of those studios, though, they work on one thing at a time, right? They're kind of mainly, they might be working on concepts for other games, but they're kind of working on one thing at a time. They bring a game out a couple years later, another game comes out a couple years later. So they're kind of taking their time with their projects. And so I wouldn't, it's hard to say what we might see from a potential Bully, but I would not say it's not the last that we've heard of a Bully sequel. After so many confirmed fake Bully 2 rumors, the news of the game at one point existing is not entirely surprising, but given the dedicated fans Rockstar has accrued over the years, it's odd they would abandon something so many of them clearly wanted and have been consistently asking for. With the release of Rockstar's game launcher, which features a PC version of Bully Scholarship Edition as one of its games for sale, and the numerous references to the franchise still found in GTA Online and Red Dead Redemption, it appears like the developer wants to keep Bully fresh in players' minds. While one version of a sequel may have been scrapped, it's never too late for Rockstar to build something new from the ground up. I 100% agree with that. You just never know, guys. With Rockstar, they're so unpredictable. You have no idea what it is that they're probably working on. It's hard to say. I believe, guys, that a Bully 2 will come out at some point in the future. We might still be, now that Bully 2, the initial concepts or the playable game was scrapped for whatever reason it might be. Maybe it was just, they thought it would be too controversial, which I doubt it. Rockstar never runs away from controversy. But maybe they were thinking, we don't really feel like the story's good enough. There's not enough here. GTA, obviously, is what a lot of people want. GTA 6. People want Max Payne. People want another Red Dead Redemption, another LA Noire. There's other titles that might just be a little bit more popular than Bully, and they're just thinking, look, we'll come back to this at some point, but let's get GTA 6 out. Let's get Max Payne 4 out. Let's get LA Noire 2 out. Let's get Red Dead Redemption 3 out. Who knows, guys? I think that the slate of games that Rockstar has are great. I think they're great. But I've got to say that it looks like at this point, Bully 2 is now going to be in a limbo state, at least for a period of time. But I think that this isn't the last we've heard of Bully 2. Let's be real. We're going to hear more about it as time goes, I'm sure. I would love to hear from all of you guys. What do you guys think about this, though? What other games from Rockstar would you want to see, made first over Bully? And, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Bully 2 will see the light of day at some point in the future? Let me know in the comment section below. Our last topic of the day, guys, I want to talk about Red Dead Redemption, and that being Red Dead Redemption 3, really. I never think it's too early to start talking about the future of games. We just got done talking in our last segment about Bully 2. I want to talk about Red Dead Redemption 3 and where the story could maybe go. Are they going to tell a completely new story? Lots of question marks around a Red Dead Redemption 3. There's a lot of speculation, guys, that after Bully 2 getting kind of scrapped at this point, The focal point is coming to GTA 6, even Max Payne 4, and then shortly after one of those games comes out, we would probably see a Red Dead Redemption 3. So let's talk about where they can maybe go with the story. In an article that was written by Matt Morgans of VGR, he goes on to write saying, among the accolades won by Red Dead Redemption 2 at the 2018 Game Awards was the Best Narrative Award, beating stiff competition from God of War, Detroit Become Human, Life is Strange 2, and Marvel's Spider-Man. Certainly the award was well earned. The story and writing of Red Dead Redemption 2 received near universal praise. The game has set a high bar for a sequel if Rockstar do choose to develop Red Dead Redemption 3. If they did, however, would Rockstar write an entirely new story? Red Dead Redemption 2 is a direct prequel to the original Red Dead Redemption, one which fills in the blanks of John Marston's life story and the story of the Van der Linde gang. However, with the stories of the two games now woven together, is there actually any room for a good third installment featuring the same characters? Possibly, but doing so could present several problems. So, in my opinion, guys, when it comes to like questions like this regarding, the story, right? In my opinion, okay, for whatever that's worth, I believe it's a really good idea. Rockstar does a great job of kind of taking new concepts. They take new, stories and tell those stories, and we end up loving them. Like in the event of like the Grand Theft Auto series, we absolutely love those stories, and each time they're different. Red Dead Redemption's a little bit different because of how it started and then, of course, how they continued it. Now, if they would have made Red Dead Redemption 2 completely different from the first one, then I could see them doing the same thing again with Red Dead Redemption 3. But I feel like since those two are directly, connected to one another, I think a third game needs to, personally, it really needs to continue that, or it needs to just kind of end the trilogy of Red Dead Redemption. It needs to end those three games, and then if they made a Red Dead Redemption 4, then they could go in a direction of completely new and different, changes to the story and like completely new stories that they could tell. I think though that they need to make one more to kind of really put the trilogy together as the original core, even though we had Red Dead Revolver that came, of course, Red Dead Redemption. As far as the Red Dead Redemption franchise is concerned, or sub-series, I really think that they need to, obviously, I just think, finish it off. Story possibilities for Red Dead Redemption 3. Red Dead Redemption 2 does set something of a precedent that the story of the franchise is consistent across titles, a significant difference from Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto series, where the individual games' stories are largely standalone. Given that Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel, it might make sense for Red Dead Redemption 3 to be a direct sequel to the original game, continuing the story in other directions. However, there are a few issues with doing this, not least the problem posted by the setting itself. So I agree with this. I think personally Red Dead Redemption 3 should be a direct sequel to the original Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption takes place in the very end of, at the very end of the Wild West era. Indeed, the theme of the frontier world being overtaken by modernity is a major part of the game. A sequel to the original Red Dead Redemption would have to take place within a few years at the most for the setting to still fall into the category of being a Western. If Rockstar chose for Red Dead Redemption 3 to go even further back, perhaps telling the story of how the Van der Linde gang was first formed, it might also run into problems. While the setting would remain appropriate in this instance, the stories of the gang members are so deeply explored in the two existing games that it would be difficult to create meaningful character development. It wouldn't be impossible, but it begs the question, why hamstring the story unnecessarily? So, I don't really agree with that. I mean, I think that they really could do it. I mean, look, this is Rockstar. And I also think that when he was bringing up how it takes end, Red Dead Redemption takes place at the end of the Wild West era. Look, if we went into a new era almost with Red Dead Redemption, or kind of like at the turn of the century, I think that would be really cool for this franchise. I really do. I think it would be different. It wouldn't be the same kind of thing. In the third one, it'd be a little bit different. Still have that Red Dead Redemption feel, of course, to it, as well as, you know, the Western vibes that you get from it. But it would also be kind of gradually moving into a different direction, which I think would be really good. So writing a new story for Red Dead Redemption 3, the third option is for Rockstar to write a completely new story for Red Dead Redemption 3, not ruling out some cameo appearances, perhaps from existing characters. This would open up a lot of options for the potential sequel, including new settings which have yet to be seen in the franchise. Rockstar's ability to write a compelling and emotional story has now been proven. They would surely do a good job with a new cast of characters who could be purpose-developed for a new storyline. Unfortunately, all fans can do this at this stage is speculate, and that is unlikely to change anytime soon. 8 years separate the release of Red Dead Redemption and the series' second installment. Hopefully it won't be so long to wait this time. However, it will probably still be years nonetheless before fans hear anything concrete about Red Dead Redemption 3. So in my personal opinion, guys, I think that we're probably going to be a number of years away, especially if Rockstar has the mentality, we're going to do GTA 6 first, Max Payne 4, maybe even LA Noire 2, and then a Red Dead Redemption 3. I think their two juggernaut games are GTA and Red Dead. Those are their two juggernauts, and then LA Noire and Bully and Max Payne are all kind of like those second tier games. But they're obviously doing a GTA 6. That's for sure. But I think if you're a Red Dead Redemption fan, I certainly think that you can expect a Red Dead Redemption 3, but it might be another 8 years. I mean, really, it could very well potentially be that, because let's just say that GTA 6 comes out in a year or two, and then a few years after that, you got Max Payne 4. A couple years after that, LA Noire 2. Then a couple years after that, then a Red Dead Redemption 3. Now, maybe it goes somewhere in between there. Maybe even goes after the GTA 6 comes out. It's hard to say. I feel that they want Red Dead Redemption, though, to kind of live its life cycle. You know, that's just me personally. I think, you know, are we going to have to wait that long? I think there's a heavy possibility for that, because they want the life cycle of Red Dead Redemption 2 as well as Red Dead Online to kind of really build momentum here. So that'll be something to really, you know, kind of think about. But although only time will tell whether Red Dead Redemption 2 will be as endearingly successful as GTA 5, the game's launch was record-breaking. The game shows every sign of achieving considerable success over the next few years, especially as Rockstar begins to work on post-launch content. Given its success so far, it seems very likely that Rockstar will plan to release Red Dead Redemption 3 at some stage, but when would that happen? How long are you going to have to wait, guys? Well, Rockstar released the original Red Dead Redemption way back in 2010, launching to critical acclaim. The game won a variety of Game of the Year awards and is still one of the highest regarded games among critics. Understandably, it set a high bar for its sequel. It's fair to say that it not only matched that standard, but actually exceeded it. Red Dead Redemption 2's launch was the second largest in the history of all entertainment. The game made over $725 million in its first weekend alone. Just huge. With a launch this successful, a third entry in the series is all but inevitable. However, fans may be left waiting for a long time. In between Red Dead Redemption and its sequel, Rockstar released LA Noire, Max Payne 3, GTA 5, and LA Noire, the VR case files. As a result, it's entirely possible that the game wasn't in serious development for the entire 8-year gap. Presumably, Rockstar will aim to release GTA 6 before they release Red Dead Redemption 3. However, they currently have no announced projects underway. They haven't even confirmed development of GTA 6. So, as I said, guys, I mean, look at that. Rockstar released LA Noire in between the Red Dead Redemption and its sequel. Rockstar released LA Noire, Max Payne 3, GTA 5, and LA Noire, the VR case files. That's technically 4 games, right? With like a add-on, of course, the VR case files with LA Noire. I mean, that is crazy, man. So I I just feel like they're probably going to do that again. Why wouldn't they do that again? They're going to take their time with Red Dead Redemption. They've got Red Dead Online that can kind of keep you coming back to the game over time. The campaign itself, there's so much to explore. The multiplayer, just everything. It only makes sense to me, at least, that they would probably do the same cycle again. Max Payne 4, GTA 6, LA Noire 2, unless maybe they don't do another LA Noire, they work on like something completely new, a brand new IP. But just any game that comes out from Rockstar is pretty much a smash hit. Really. If Rockstar mirrored the development time of Red Dead Redemption 2, then Red Dead Redemption 3 might not release until 2026, with an announcement for the game coming in 2024. However, the studio has certainly expanded in recent years thanks to the enormous financial success of GTA 5. If they invest in expanding their development team and capabilities and don't develop any other titles in the next few years, then it's certainly possible that fans could see Red Dead Redemption 3 come sooner. A major factor here could be whether Red Dead Redemption 2's online feature is successful. So, GTA Online has, of course, enjoyed enormous success since the game's release. As a result, Rockstar has produced a steady stream of post-launch content for it. If Red Dead Online follows a similar pattern, then Rockstar may focus more on supporting the game's post-launch rather than focusing on a sequel. And there you have it, guys. Look, I think that we can obviously expect a Red Dead Redemption 3 at some point or another, but I think that we're a ways away, guys. Enjoy Red Dead Redemption 2 for what it is, because, man, it's an incredible game. Absolutely incredible. There's so much to do in it. The Red Dead Online, they just have so much that they're doing. GTA Online, they have so much going on there as well. But look, GTA is their most successful, their most successful IP, and they haven't made another Grand Theft Auto for a long time. So don't expect another Red Dead for a long time. Give them time and they will deliver. They'll deliver on Max Payne. They'll deliver on Red Dead. They'll deliver on GTA. They'll deliver even probably on an LA Noire, maybe even a Bully. So just give them time and let them do their magic and enjoy these games for what they are right now. But I would love to have a real conversation with all of you guys. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys want to see a Red Dead Redemption 3 sooner rather than later, or are you okay with just waiting for a very, very well-polished game? Let me know what you guys think, and let's have a real conversation about it. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of The 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.